I'm here with Dante after an eventful first half of the season, a big switch for you in terms of your career. There are some reasons for me to be sad in this moment, but I think there's also a lot of reasons to believe that this is just a good start. And you've given a lot to the league in the last 6 years and longer, theoretically, given that you were already around before the league started. And I thought it was a good time to sort of make a snapshot, see how you feel now and how things are going to progress, but also talk about things, how they developed over the season and your thoughts on them right now. So my first question would be, how do you feel with your decision to retire now that it's been a week?
I'm pretty content with it. I'm looking forward to the future. Throughout the season, I kind of knew that this would be my last year, so my mind was already set. Like let's just do this year and then retire after. It just makes a lot of sense with the way the league is right now, and I have good options, whereas some other players might not have the same options I do. I could stream and be comfortable with streaming. I could also go collegiate. That's not really an option for Korean players, and maybe some EU players. I don't know how it works for the Europeans. I know some of them like Lethal were in collegiate, but it's definitely a easier option for someone like me. So both those options are really good, and when the league is like going like a little bit downward, it makes those things more appealing to me.
That makes perfect sense. Do you think there's news that could come out that could make you reconsider, considering what we are feeling that something is going to happen next year, right? We don't know the entire specifics. It just seems like, that we heard the Toronto news that has some implications, but we really don't know what the league might look like next year. Depending on the news that one might get, do you feel like you could have decided differently had you just stayed and played out the season?
I don't think so, honestly, because I feel like there's a timer on what I need to do, because um, if I wait too long to stream and stuff, and Overwatch as a whole, just like the hype dies down, it'll be bad. But there's like a lot of stuff coming up with Overwatch, like PvE and stuff, like the next season, or I think after this one. There's supposed to be a really big balance, and then BlizzCon. So there's gonna be a lot of hype around the game, and those are good opportunities to grow your stream. If you just play like every day and like people are watching you, it's really good chance. So I think it's important to get on those while they're still available. I mean, I'm sure Overwatch is gonna be around for like a few years, but I think it's better sooner than later. Just because I don't see Overwatch League worthwhile right now at the moment.
For sure. Did you have offers from other teams after, like, you knew you were going to leave the Gladiators?
No, I honestly didn't talk to any other teams. Didn't reach out. It might have been like because I posted a picture saying freedom right after, so I think people like knew the general consensus. Um, Maybe I could have joined like one or two other teams, but it's also I don't want to have to deal with moving. Like I have a lot of stuff. I've been in the league for like 6 years living in the States. So I just have a lot of random stuff that I bought. So I have to like move a U-Haul truck. So I'd have to like move like if I wanted to go to like New York or like a random team. That's like literally across the country, move all my stuff just for a few months and then move again because I'm pretty decided that it'd be last year. And none of the team like if you're getting picked up mid-season, you're probably on a minimum contract. And probably not for like the best team. I mean, some good team are they? I don't even know if good teams are changing much. So it's always the teams that are struggling, which it's another gamble that you might struggle more. So it just feels like there's like no good option in that at all.
Considering you just talked about the stuff that you got, you've been in the league for 6 years. Do you feel like you spent your money responsibly over the entire time?
Yeah, I think pretty reasonable. I think not bad. Not good. I think season one I was like super cheap. Like that was good. Season two I was still super cheap. But then when COVID hit, I got a little complacent with money. I was getting paid well, and like I would order a lot of food. I spent so much money on food and just like unnecessary things. But then I think come season five, like last year, I started to be cheap again. So I think it put more more perspective on money for me because I went from like being really broke like when I was younger to having a good amount of money. I learned how to like I don't know. I learned how to like change spending habits, like spend more, and I also learned how to cut back. So I think it was pretty reasonable. I'm not upset with how I spent my money, although it could have been better.
Sweet. Another thing I vaguely remember that when you got into the league, wasn't there something where you almost set the house on fire, something with a microwave or something like this? Was that you?
I don't think that was me.
Right. I still, what I do remember is you came into the league, of course, like very young, and the impression that I got from folks was you were still, as all players are at that age, you still had a lot to learn, like in terms of, you know, taking care of a household, taking care of food and whatnot, right? You talked about like being cheaper and maybe, you know, cooking for yourself. These social skills, do you think that's something that you developed? Also, because I get to this point because I watched Hydron yesterday destroy a steak. You know, there's a lot of soft skills to pick up over 6 years, right?
Uh-huh. Oh wait, so what exactly the question?
Do you feel like you had time to develop as a young adult in the Overwatch League, or was it too?
Yeah, definitely. When you're forced to live on your own, you're gonna develop no matter what. Even though it's like low time, you still have to make do. I think I would have developed faster with more free time. I feel like a lot of my development is always during the off season when I have the time off, just taking a break from the game because I try to like experience life as much as possible. Like I'd definitely be a lot better at cooking if I didn't have like such a like heavy schedule during the season because if you don't know how to cook, the last thing you want to do is like try to figure out how to cook during the season. Yeah, I'm happy with how I developed, but I could have also developed more. But it's like just the price you pay. Like it was 100% worth it. Like the first like 4 seasons were amazing. Even last season was fun too. I just haven't been happy with this season really.
For sure. What was your favorite season to compete in?
I think season 1 on Shock, just because I had so many good friends on that team. Like a team really felt like a family. It was also every match was in person, 40 games. You get to meet fans after like every single time. It was just a whole different vibe. Like living in or not living, going to the practice office every day, seeing all the other teams in the hallway. It was a different experience for sure.
Was 40 too much? Was that just too many games?
Oh yeah, 40 was definitely too much. But also what we have right now is too little, 16 I think. We gave the feedback before in season 4 because that's how many we played in season 4. Maybe it was less. I think it was 16.
Mhm.
But I think a good balance is anywhere from like 20 to 28. Maybe 28 is a little too much, but 24 would be good. I think you want to have enough matches to like where you feel satisfied, especially for like the losing teams and stuff. If you're not getting those extra playoff matches and stuff, it really feels like you miss out. So I think anywhere in the 20s is a good sweet spot for matches.
Did your enjoyment of your profession change with Overwatch 2 in any way?
I don't think it has to do with Overwatch 2 because last season I really enjoyed last season actually. I don't think it was much to do with the team because Outlaw's team environment was actually kind of toxic. So I think I was just having fun with the game and the structure of the league. The league was really like we had 4 lands last year. We went to Dallas, Toronto, Hawaii, and Anaheim. So like a lot of traveling, and that's by far the most rewarding and fun part about esports is going to those lands, like meeting fans, meeting your friends from other teams. Like there's no experience like that in esports.
You just pointed something out, and now I have to ask a follow-up based on that. What do you mean when you say the environment was toxic?
So just every team environment's different, and honestly, most team environments are pretty toxic. Like even the best teams that are winning everything, like they can still have a really toxic environment. Like I think that's something that the fans don't know is like probably like 70% of the teams have a pretty toxic environment. Like people just get upset, like they just stop trying, they stop talking completely. They just like whine, people have attitude. Like there's a lot of just people that are hard to work with. And one thing I'm thankful for this year is like everyone on Gladiators has been awesome. It's been super amazing. Like no one's like that. But last year on Outlaws, like the season 1 Shock even had some players. Season 2 Outlaws, like a lot of teams have like just bad environments. it's hard to work with people. And I think part of the reason is like when you're gaming your whole life, you kind of like lack social skills and like how to act properly, especially like if you aren't that involved with other things. Like I did sports and stuff, so I feel like I have like more perspective on that. Like my coaches and like parents always taught me like how to like treat teammates and stuff. But some people don't have that. Like some people drop out of like high school and stuff, so like they lack even more experience. And when you're just in this circle of bad environments, like you can't really grow that much. Like some people have a hard time growing. So I think that's part of the reason why there's so many toxic environments.
Do you think it got worse this season? It feels like one hears more of these instances of teams booming in scrims, just throwing it down, like middle of the scrim block, stuff like this. That just feels like maybe there's something in the ether. Either it's the uncertainty that you described, or I don't know, it's the meta, or the lack of LAN environments for these folks to look forward to. Do you feel like this is worse this season?
I think it can contribute. I think a lot of the stories just surface these days. Like before in season 1 and 2, like you don't talk about what other teams do. Like that's their own stuff. But now people like they just leak. Like no one cares. Like people just don't care as much about the consequences because really there is no consequences. It's like every team's going through issues. Yeah, I don't know. No one cares anymore if you say things about their team.
Makes sense, yeah. It also feels like in season 1 and 2, because you guys were all in one area, like I assume you even could hear it probably through the door sometimes, right? Like if
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, okay, so Overwatch 2, of course, came with a pretty big change for you, because it's not just that the game changed, but your role changed and what you wanted to do and what you had to do in order to, make do for your teams. And you made the decision to switch roles and became a tank player. Do you have any regrets towards that decision?
No, I don't have any regrets. I'm really happy that I played tank because it allowed me to join LA Gladiators. I really like this team. Everyone was like really amazing on it. Like it sucks to end it early, but it opened up the door for this. I'd much rather be playing for this team than any other team in the league right now. So I guess X playing. I'm not playing anymore. But I had a lot of time. I had a lot of fun when I played on it, even though it was like a lot of growing pain, a lot of learning. I'm content with content with landing here.
There's an interesting thing because you weren't just the only one of like former great flex DPS players that made the switch to tank. It's also Fledder that I'm thinking about. Arguably, Fledder had an even rougher season, right? In terms of adjusting to especially Winston. It's weird, right? Like back in the day, we used to say no aim, no brain, Winston main. Now it feels like there's like 4 or 5 people that can even play the hero at top level, right? What is so hard about Winston?
I think there's like everything snowballs off the tank first of all, and when you're playing like a high mobility tank, there's a lot of room for error, and there's also a lot of room for carry. And like when you have these players that have been playing for Winston for like 6 years, they make the hero look so good, and they just do things like they know their limits. They know like they've been in these situations so many times that it's hard to catch up. Like especially with people like me, Fleta, like Hanbin, he was like an off tank player, didn't play much Winston. It's like the reason I don't think Fuel's played much Winston, but like the reason why, like they want to play their strengths and stuff. So it's really hard to play Winston. Like no matter how good of a player you are, like Fleta, like MVP player, it's hard to learn. Like you just need the experience, and there's no like mechanic that like, can bust you out of it. Like primals are like the only thing, but primals like one of the hardest mechanics in the game. Like I feel like when you're learning other tanks, like when I was learning Junker Queen, Doomfist, Orisa, I could hit the skill shots, and I'd at least make up for like the mistakes I'm making positionally because I don't have the tank experience yet. But with Winston, there's none of that. Like you can barely recover for mechanics. I just have to play off of good reading the game, like good decision making, and experience. And the experience when you're lacking, like I could read the game like perfectly in my head right now. Like if I think this is right and it's like my first time encountering the situation, I could do it like perfectly. Like I'm like playing really well. Like my form is good, but in reality, like that might just be someone that has like 10 times more experience on an off day because like they just have habits of doing things that I need to like put conscious thought into, and it just like puts you so behind.
Makes sense, yeah. It also felt like very obvious that that's the case because whenever the meta swung into regions where everyone sort of was put on a level playing field of experience, I'm thinking Doomfist, I'm thinking Ramatra, you were among the top players, right?
Yeah, that's kind of how it was with Outlaws last year. A reason we were trying Orisa so much is like we tried to make the meta in playoffs last year. Orisa, we ended up going to Winston last minute, but we would always try to play heroes that were new because we knew that I could like be one of the top players on those new heroes. So, but this year it's just so fucked. It's like Winston Sombra Tracer. There's no cheesing it. Like you have to play those heroes. It's annoying. But
would you have wished a bigger shakeup in terms of the meta, what is being played and whatnot, in terms of patches?
Yeah, I think more diverse metas are fun. Actually, there's two sides. It's more stressful too because you have to like learn a bunch of different comps, especially when you're catching up. It is stressful, but one meta all the time kind of gets repetitive. So I don't know. I think a balance would have been better. I hear the meta is Sombra Tracer still, so I think it'll just be a year full of Sombra Tracer, which is never fun. Yeah.
What would you rather play, a year of goats again or a year of hero pools?
Year of hero pools.
Okay, can you explain why?
Because I think just more freshness is good. It gets repetitive fast, and it's bad for viewership too. If you were watching something like Goats every single day, just more fun to play more comps.
The feedback that I got, yeah, go on.
I was gonna say, even though Hero Pools is like really unpredictable and like stressful, because like it's just whatever team has the right read. At least it's better than just the same thing every day.
Right. I guess like
the
next question is always that comes up when one talks about hero pools is hero bans, right? Do you think that can ever work?
I'm not sure honestly. I don't think I'm the right person to ask because I don't have experience in other games that do them. I just don't know enough about it. So, and I don't know what the flaws are, what the like pros are. So, personally, I don't think it would work. Just off of what other people have said. Like I think Jake talked about it. I think he said it wouldn't be a good idea. I don't remember honestly. I just know there's like a negative consensus generally. So I'm just gonna trust those guys, assuming that they have some sort of experience with hero bans and stuff.
In terms of this experience needed for Winston, do you think that's also true for the other legacy tanks like Reinhardt? Would you have had a similarly hard time adjusting there?
I know personally I would have had a more difficult time on Ryan, but I think there are mechanic matchups and stuff, like blocking shatter and stuff. I know I'm just not that good at Ryan, so I don't think I would have been good at it. But I think other players could be good at learning Ryan. Like even like Piggy wasn't bad at Ryan last year, and he was an off tank player. Like I don't think he was like top Ryan like Hottie or them, but he was better than all the other off tank Ryans because he could like block shatters and stuff. So
sure. Does ball fall into the same pattern of like needing a lot of experience in order to play that effectively?
Yeah, ball is really hard, but I think not many players would have been able to play him this year. Like only like Junbin, maybe a couple other main tanks, Junbin, someone. So I think it takes insane experience, but it also wouldn't be that bad because you're only going against two people that have that insane experience on ball. So like it's just like incredibly high skill cap hero, so much mobility, so much tech, knowing when to apply the tech, knowing like when just to follow your teammates. Like you take a lot of damage on that hero in like pro play. Like in ranked, you can do whatever the fuck you want, but in pro play, you take so much damage. It's crazy. So I think that would be a hard one, but you also only need to be better than the other off tanks that are playing it too, or DPS players.
Sure. There was one weird pattern that I observed with your team, and it was when I talked to certain players from the top teams, you know, like I think Violet said it, someone from Mayhem said it, I think. It was weird to see that there seemed to be a certain disrespect towards the Gladiators, as in like losing against you guys is, or your former team is like you now lost against the gatekeeper of what is a good team, and that's probably upsetting for the top four or whatever, right? Why do you think that is?
I don't know. Maybe they just didn't respect us much. I don't know why they didn't respect us. Maybe it's because like I'm solo tank. Like when it's like a Winston meta, Like it should be obvious that like it'd be a weaker meta for us. So maybe that's how they felt, like disrespect, or like if they lost to us, it's like, damn, we just lost. Like, because it's obviously a weaker meta for us. Honestly, it does make a lot of sense. Because Yaki, first year on Sombra, he had like a lot to learn. It was like a big game of catch up. Me on Winston, big game of catch up. Last year playing flex support when he was playing, it's a big game of catch up for him because he played main support for all of Overwatch 2. So in a lot of ways, our team was like just all playing games of catch up. So I think that could be a big reason why.
Do you think like it's very easy that this season starts on a different meta and you have very different performances? Much better?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think it's definitely hard meta for us. Like if you think about it, Pro Am, it was a different meta. His scan was more in the pool. Kai, like world class hit scan. The guy's insane. We were like the only team to beat Atlanta. We beat Houston in that meta. Just because Ramacho was better. So Ramacho was better. We had that going for us. And Kree was better. So, or Cassidy. Cassidy was better, and we could play to Kai's strengths. So we did well in Pro Am. Just suited us more, and the results showed.
How did you do in scrims over the season?
Scrims, it was up and down. Like we'd hit strides that where we did like pretty good, then we just like plummet and up, and then it was just constant like up and down, up and down.
Is something you can pinpoint to, or just the natural flow of things?
I think it's just the natural flow, especially when it's a weaker meta for your team, because like you'll have something good going for you, but then you'll just like backtrack, or like other people improve faster. I think when it's a really good comfort meta for you, you have like the insane Sombra, you have the insane like Winston and stuff. They're really natural. Like when you just have heroes you're natural on, like you're always going to be dominant in metas like that.
For sure. Now, of course, we also want to look at ahead, and the one thing that I'm really interested in is if you are going to stick around in Overwatch esports, because one thing that we've seen with this game has developed some incredible streamers and brands, right? They just don't stick around much. It's not like, XQC ever looks at an Overwatch League game. I don't think Super does. What about you? Do you have any plans in terms of like, do you want to get away from the esports scene? You're fine for now, or what are your thoughts?
I think it just depends on the structure next year. I know I'll go to grand finals for sure this year. I really enjoy watching and stuff, like the actual events. I don't really care much for regular season because I've just been in the league for so long. I've seen so many games. I've played in so many games. It's just low interest to me. But the LAN events, I'd still be able to see fans there. I'd be able to see all my friends that are still competing. Maybe I'll watch hype games, like the big ones. Things like Shock, or I guess not Shock this year, but like Outlaws versus Atlanta, because games like that are always like insane to watch. But I probably wouldn't watch that much. I've never been much of a watcher. I think like season 2 is when I watched the most. Season 1 and 2, because it was just a different vibe back then. But I haven't been much of a watcher as of lately.
What if it turned out that for whatever reason, co-streaming was a viable streaming path for you? Would that turn your decision to maybe even watch regular season? Or is it like, are you not that business driven and you'd rather do whatever you want on your stream?
Yeah, I think that could be a fun possibility, but I think at the moment it's on YouTube, so you can't go stream. But I don't know. If you could, I definitely would consider it for like any hype games, because that's like a good way you can like integrate both communities. Like it helps Owl and Owl helps you. So I think it's like worth it, but you just can't do it at the moment.
Sure. Now,
at least for hype games, I think hype games only, like, but I wouldn't do it for like random like toilet bowl games, because like why would you do that?
Yeah. Sure. Now it feels like last season we lost Super. This season we're losing you, and it felt like your presence was probably, you were for the most part the face of Western Overwatch, I would say. Biggest following of any player left, biggest stream, I believe. And there seems to be a vacuum of player brands. And while the game has shrunk significantly, it still feels like the only folks that are sort of capitalizing on it are the Toronto boys, right? Do you feel like they players could do more, or is it just the state of the scene that it's really hard to build a brand?
I think they can do more, but it's hard to want to stream after scrims and stuff. Like you're pretty tired, and if you want to do it, you definitely have to put in like a lot of extra effort. You have like no downtime after scrims, and a lot of people just don't want to do that because they value their free time differently. So people won't do it. It's also a bit different for Overwatch esports. I feel like you can play insane in a tournament, and then you turn on your stream, it's like nothing's different. Like maybe you get like 30, 50 extra viewers, 100, but then like you see these Valorant pros that play insane in a tournament, and then they just have 10K viewers like when they start streaming. It's like really different. So I think the hype is harder on Overwatch. You just have to be more consistent with streaming, and being consistent is hard when the season is like so demanding on time.
I talked to Sika, and you said it's not only just that the season's really demanding and Overwatch as a game is really demanding because you need to put so many hours into it. The gameplay loop itself is also really stressful in comparison to other games. And therefore, like, you're just more drained after X hours than you would be in other games. Do you think that's true?
Yeah, that does make sense. It is pretty draining. You have like no downtime. You're like constantly making calls. When you're dead, you're trying to like make like you're spectating, making calls for the team, or you're ult tracking. You're always doing something in Overwatch, so it does make it draining. I don't play many other games competitively, so I'm sure every game's draining in its own way, but that is something that makes Overwatch pretty draining.
In terms of brand building, did you ever make a conscious effort of like these are the things I want to do, or did it simply come as people got interested in your personality?
Can you give examples of like what I want to do, or
for instance, like folks could, let's say someone like XQC in comparison, like maybe he would realize, okay, there's something about that type of content that really resonates with folks, or a type of behavior, and I'm optimizing towards that, versus I just turn my stream on and play some ranked, and like by virtue of who I am, people get, interested in me and just stick around. Like, were you careful in planning, like trying to get as many streaming hours, maybe having some, social media engagement or whatever? Did you have any strategy, or did you just put as much in as you wanted to, just genuinely how you are as a person?
Streaming, I feel like it's a little bit different. I kind of just turn my stream on and just play, just chill, because I need to practice, so I might as well be doing two things at once. I don't have like that type of energy where I can like do a full day of scrims and just be like crackhead energy like on stream. I don't know, it's just too hard for me. But I think with like tweets and stuff, I definitely try to like appeal to be like more like just like derpy, like just like stupid, just like make like stupid tweets and stuff. I feel like that's how I am like in person a lot. I feel like I'm definitely like a lot more like chill and like less talkative on stream. But when I'm in person with like my friends and stuff, I'm always like super talkative and like won't shut up, like just stupid, funny, like annoying guy. So that's how I am in person. It doesn't really translate into games and stuff because I just want to chill when I'm playing games. But try to portray it sometimes on like Twitter and stuff.
For sure, yeah. Now, of course, your next step is collegiate, and it felt like, because from the messaging that we received, it's like you leaving the Gladiators was also not like telegraphed super long for you. Presumably, you'll let go, and then folks contact you, and you get with Maryville. It feels like this all happened very quickly, right?
Yeah, it happened really fast. I was talking to False when I got dropped, and he's like, "All right, I'm talking to Maryville for you. You're getting in next semester." I'm like, "All right, let's do it," because I was just like down because it was something in my head that made sense. The other option I was gonna do is like full-time stream, but it doesn't make sense at the moment because I'd have to find my own place in LA, which is really expensive, paying solo rent. Like I don't have enough time to get a roommate. And then on top of that, I want to go home for the holidays, be home for like a month or two. So I'd be paying empty rent. So it doesn't make sense to do that. So going straight to collegiate, just getting a semester in really quick, just made the most sense for me. So I was like really quick to do that, no hesitation. I knew what I wanted. They were really good with the process. Like False talked to them, they like were able to free up scholarships, and then yeah, they talked to me, I talked to them, and then got sorted out really fast.
I mean, that team is stacked, right? Like, as far as I remember, I think isn't it 3 tanks that are now on the roster with, is it Mickey, Falls, and you, like that are currently on the roster?
I can't really talk about whole roster stuff because not everything is announced, but
for sure.
Yeah.
But the
it is a stack team. It is a stack team. I'll say that.
Yes, like it just feels like there's so much, especially former out talent, elite out talent to a degree. I mean, these guys, Mickey has seen a grand final as well. It feels like this is in the bag, right? Like you're winning the first collegiate season.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I honestly, like for me, I'm not that interested in like competing and stuff. Like it'll be fun, like go to the tournaments and stuff. But I'm not really looking forward to that. I'm more just looking forward to having more time in my life, be able to hang out with like my good friends in collegiate because I have a lot of friends on that team, and then just getting like a college experience. Like I haven't really interacted with people in so long. I think it'll be fun to like just go to class and stuff and just actually like see people. Like I don't know, it sounds exciting to me.
I had this theory that collegiate is going to be great for tier 2 in terms of the finance part, in terms of getting money into that ecosystem. The way you were describing it, it's not necessarily great to develop the talent pipeline, right? The best thing that could happen is you're on a team, you're checked out of the hardcore competitive stuff, but you can help younger folks, maybe, with your experience and whatnot. Do you think that hybrid system of like young guys that want to make it into Overwatch League and guys that have already been there and can help them a little bit, is that something that can work? And can collegiate there become like a talent forge for the NA region?
I think it depends on the people you get. Like personally, I know for like the younger players that do want to go to the league, like I'll like fully support them, and I'll like make sure to try my hardest in practice. But I'm sure on the other hand, there's gonna be people that are like just don't care. Like it's like whatever. Like I'm done. I done my time. Like let me just like go like get college done now. So I think it depends on the person, but any like reasonable person will definitely try to help the younger talent and stuff. So I think it can be helpful for them, like for people trying to grow. But you also have more obligations with schoolwork and stuff. So it does like set you back. That like you're not putting 100% into Overwatch, which could be the differentiating factor whether you make it or not.
Now, how do you expect your day-to-day to change? Like how much Overwatch will be still in your day, and like how much will just be completely like being a college student?
I plan on taking morning classes, and then I want to like work out, and then that leaves the rest of the day for our scrims and streaming and schoolwork. I don't know how much the workload is. I don't think it's that much the first 2 years, so hopefully I'll be able to stream a lot. I'm trying to get it so we can stream scrims. I think that'd be like actually really good for the scene because I mean tier 2 is pretty dead at the moment, but I think being able to stream would really change the game because then like viewers would like care more about it, and it just brings more publicity to the schools. Like it's really helpful for everyone, honestly. Brings publicity to your teammates, the other teams you're scrimming against. So I'd like to be able to stream. It also gets me like 2 extra stream hours in a day. Like if I get to stream those, then I get 2 hours. Like that just saves 2 hours of my time because I can like I'm doing more than one thing with the scrim practice. So I think that'd be great if we could do that.
Sure. Do you think that I talked to Seeker about a possibility? Because for years, like a couple of times during the development of professional Overwatch, it felt like folks like Faceit, the FPLs, tried to get in, tried to set up these pro packs, put like a prize money on it. People therefore cared. There was a leaderboard or something planned. Do you think something like this should just be allowed, and like it would make for way better streaming content as well if everyone like had a ladder that where folks have to get invited to? So let's say all Overwatch League players and all collegiate players are invited, and then like you can nominate like the ladder stars to get in, therefore increasing the quality. And could something like this work, especially if you attach prize money to it?
I don't think so because I think Overwatch League is like really different from other leagues and stuff. I think with how many Korean players there are, it's kind of hard. I remember Carter had like a pug system for Overwatch 2 before, and none of my Korean teammates wanted to play it last year. Last year, just I don't know, he's really shy. Pelican's really shy. Like I think they're just uncomfortable playing like talking English, and like if people are streaming and stuff, like it pushes people out of their comfort zones, especially like the Korean players. And when most Korean players don't want to play, then I think like it makes it even less likely for them to play. You have to like really push them to want to play. And then if the best players aren't playing in it, why would anyone else want to play in it? You know, like most of the best players are Korean, so it's like, oh, if like Pelican and Violet are playing ranked, like just play ranked. Like you'll get in their games, it'll be better practice.
For sure.
And also, an issue Pugs had in the past was before when the game was really like it was 6v6, off tank, main support, flex support. People didn't really have the ability to off roll before, so it made it really hard to fill the games. So I think Pugs, like ever since then, like it kind of like killed the hype around them, because it's like they're just not that, like they weren't that good before, and like it's hard to want to do them if they have that reputation. Even though it's easier now with like more flexibility between players and one less role to fill.
Sure. Another thing that's coming up for you, you've been a late nominee for Team USA. How serious are you taking this?
I'm gonna try my hardest for my teammates and stuff. I'm excited. I want to like I need to make sure I'm starting 7. I don't know if that's confirmed yet. I think it's like on the website or something, like on Wikipedia. I remember seeing a tweet. But who knows, it could change and stuff, so I need to make sure I try my hardest, because I really want to go to BlizzCon. I want to meet fans and stuff. I want to hang out with all my friends from different countries, like Funny Astro from Team UK. It's a big community event. I just want to be there to experience it with everyone, and hopefully get a second place trophy.
You think there's no chance that you're beating Korea?
I mean, well, so they're not nerfing Winston or Sombra, and they might have Fearless and Lip, so... or is it Smurf? I don't know. Is it Smurf? I don't remember. But
no, I think it's Fearless. It's pretty much
all
Dallas.
Fearless and Lip. Oh, yeah. So, I mean, I guess it is possible. Meta can change. You never know. If meta changes, like, and it's way different, it's really good, but the way Blizzard's, like, balancing, I think they might need to nerf Sombra. Just a thought. Might need to nerf Sombra and Winston, and then we're good. We're good for 1. First place. Let's go.
Are you, like, of course, like, it sounds like you really want a meta change, but are you still concerned that, like, about stuff like, you know, the big patches coming, we're getting a new game mode, a new hero, possible balance changes that could toss everything up? And, like, what does it say about Overwatch esports if maybe Atlanta suddenly isn't the best team anymore when, you know, they didn't lose a match this year?
And that just fucking sucks for them. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, that's just Overwatch. That's just how it happens with the metas. There's always a new hero when playoffs come out, and it's always RNG. Like, some team will rise to the top. Like Fuel, for example. I guess they were really good at Queen meta, but like the stage 4 meta, they weren't that good at. And they went from like not that good, just like okay, to like just by far the best team in playoffs last year, because it was one of those rush metas that favored them. Like every team has like a favorite meta, like they'll just complement their strengths, and whenever a new hero comes out, it shakes it up a lot, and some teams are going to get hurt and some are going to rise. That's just how it is. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think just how it is.
Yeah, makes sense.
Like it just sucks if you're in that position. Like nothing more to say.
Yeah. I guess as a last topic, let's say I'd ask you in a year, what would you expect to feel in that moment in terms of, do you think you will miss the heavy, you know, competitive grind that pretty much made up, you know, a sizable chunk of your young adult life?
I think there's gonna be times where I miss it, but I'm also gonna be like missing the good times and stuff, not the bad times. I had like a really long career, so it's not like I cut it short or anything. Yeah, the season was cut short, but in the end, I'm still content with how my career went. It would have been better to win more, but I'm also just content. Like, made good money, I made good friends, I got a lot of really good experiences, tried a lot of good food, like got to experience different cultures, like Korean culture. I'm just really happy that I got to experience it. There's gonna be things I miss, but there's also gonna be things I'm gonna really enjoy, not having the big like obligation to just be always on my computer.
Do you think you will feel you should have done anything differently? Just over your entire career, like team choices, all that?
No, I honestly don't really dwell on the past that much. I'm just happy with how like everything went. I don't know, like I could be happier, but could be worse. I could have been in the league for like a year. I could have been like on min salary for 3 years and then cut, or like there's a lot of like worse timelines. So even though mine wasn't the best, I'm pretty content with it.
Sure. Then I guess like as a last thing, what do you want to say to the fans that stuck with you for the 6 years, and where can they find you regularly?
I want to say thank you guys. Yeah, I appreciate it so much. You can see me at BlizzCon and Grand Finals. If you see me, say hi. I really appreciate that stuff. It always makes me happy, like taking pictures with the fans and stuff. You can also follow me on Twitch. I'm gonna try to stream more regularly once I move out of this apartment and into Maryville. Not consistent right now, but it'll hopefully be more consistent later on. Yeah, follow my TikTok too, Danteh Overwatch, Danteh OW, I think. So I'll probably be posting TikToks, YouTube Shorts, and Twitch. That's my main content I'll be doing in the next year or two. So yeah, give me a follow. I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for the interview, and thank you for what you've done for the last 6 or 7 years of professional Overwatch.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.